Hello and welcome to Destiny Digits. This is the expression number 1 reading. Your expression number in numerology is found using your full birth name. There are links in the description box below if you need help doing that. Your expression number talks about your potential, talks about what you can ascend to or grow to or step into as you walk out your life path. And so this reading is almost like a progress report to see the change in the growth that we're making in a situation or an energy. And so as a 1, the energy that you carry is that of a leader, a trailblazer. You're pioneering, determined, ambitious, right? And so you don't mind doing things alone. You don't mind being first. You don't mind being separate from others in order to find self, to move closer to self, to pursue something that you want to do, right? Very independent. So let's go ahead and get into the reading. So card number 1, because we're talking about growth and progress and change, is going to tell us kind of what's over and done with. First card says, energize yourself with the weather. And so just starting with that, I feel like it's saying to step outside, to get outdoors, to take in the fresh air, to change your scenery, to really use what nature provides to feel new again. You don't have to do much. You don't have to spend. This doesn't cost, right? This is just something that you can do for 3 to 5 minutes a day, but it needs to be intentional and conscious. It says, enjoy the warm sunshine, the wind in the trees, the cleansing rain, or the clarity after a snowstorm. This will increase your aliveness. So what's over and done with? Any situation that was making you feel unalive, making you feel dark or dead or dragged down, is over and done with. And so what you can now move into is a period where you feel uplifted. You no longer feel heavy and burdened. Now beneath this card is the 7 of Swords, which I really have grown to have a loving relationship with, but this card always kind of gave me a feeling, right? And so now I see this card as strategy, but strategy can be for good or evil. Good means I have a plan, but this plan is best pursued in privacy and secrecy behind the scenes. It's best if I say nothing. It's best if I act as if something is not happening, because it's just in the best outcome of all, right? That's strategy that would be for good. Now strategy for evil is I'm going to do this plan. I'm going to act out this agenda for my own gain, for my own self-interest. Whether all, even if it's at the detriment of another, right? So that's when that 7 of Swords energy becomes sketchy. So this could be the need to look over your shoulder, to watch the energies around you. Somebody's not being honest up front with you. This could also be you're not being honest and upfront with yourself about others or situations that you're in. And the crazy thing is that beneath the 7 of Swords, the cards that came out is literally honesty. It says, I can't always expect truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. And when we're dealing with people or situations that are deceitful, for a period of time, we are getting intuitive urges that are telling us something is off, something is off. But until we honor it, we're almost not being honest with ourselves, right? And so the 7 of Swords is also saying you need to be honest with yourself about a situation. And so if you're ever involved, life is nothing but relationships, so we're always involved with people, right? But this is just saying that you can't expect others to be truthful, but you can always expect that to come from you. So this is over and done with. Periods of deceit, periods of things being done in the darkness, periods of either tolerating dishonesty and deceit from others, or not being able to honestly look at self and offer self the reflection it needs about a situation. Card number 2, this is the card that talks to us about what's over, but the effects still linger on, right? And so the 7 of Swords, dishonesty, not feeling alive because of a situation that was really kind of dark, is done with, but we're still kind of feeling this. And why are we feeling this? The first card that comes out says, stop trying to fix people. It is not your job to fix anyone. Allow people the dignity of their own paths. And beneath this is the 8 of Wands, which is about energy, movement, momentum. It could be, typically positive progress or change, but I feel like this talks about your energy. So what's over and done with, you're no longer putting energy into fixing people that really aren't worth your fixing. So if your life lacked momentum in any way, or if you didn't see movement or change or progress, if you weren't seeing that, I think it's because our energy was being put into people, places, and things that really were not worth our time or the commitment that we had given to it, right? And so I feel like as soon as we allow everybody has their own path, whether we understand that or not, right? And so even if you are a source of wise counsel and you're really wanting the best for others, it really isn't about the outcome, it's about the path they take. So as soon as we allow people to kind of do their own thing and we no longer invest, I feel like the Eight of Wands is saying you'll see when you shift your energy, you'll see a shift in energy. Now beneath the Eight of Wands is fear. It says, I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. And so this makes me think of codependency, because why would we ever try to fix people? What is the point of that? Why? Well, when we're in relationships with people that we know are struggling or are broken, I had to pause there for just a moment. I apologize. But typically when we're trying to fix people that are struggling or broken, it's because we know that their change, their fixing, their healing directly impacts and benefits us, right? When they're doing well, we're doing well. But once you are an independent energy, right? Now I will talk about energy as a spectrum. So you're going to always in life battle independence and codependence. But I'm just saying that, the fear card says that, maybe fearing that you won't get the outcome you need is why we invest in people, places, and things that really are never equal to our value. And so as soon as we take our energy and we kind of turn it in a different direction, which is towards self, we'll start to see momentum, change, shifts, right? And so these blockages, these things that kept us from being alive and feeling alive were happening because we were putting our energy into someone else's path instead of our own, for reasons that potentially could have been codependent. But hey, it's all about fear. I'm afraid that if I don't invest in these people, places, or things, then I'm not going to feel or get what I need to get. But it's knowing that those things are not indicative of you or your path or your potential or your success or your happiness. You are your own vessel, your own story, your own identity, and you stand sovereign to anything or anyone else. And so I feel like that is definitely something you understand and know, but there could have been somebody in your energy or something you were tied to that was kind of contrary to the truth that you really hold with you through and through. And so although that energy is over, the effects of that, you still could be going through, what you have just ended or decided to really just be honest with yourself about. Card number 3 talks about where you're heading. And so it says, release other people's emotions. Ask yourself, is this emotion mine? Exhale uncomfortable feelings that are not yours so they don't linger in your body. Inhale light and space. And so this is about purging, purifying, releasing. So all the energy that we were putting into people, we were also absorbing all of those people, places, and things that possibly could have had this Seven of Swords energy, kept us in fear, like not being able to be honest and true about what was really happening. And so now it's time to just imagine you're a sponge full of water, but none of that water, you were almost dropped. You were dropped in a bucket. Like you weren't supposed to be full of water. You're supposed to kind of be dry. And so when you were dropped in the bucket, that bucket was everything else that you've been investing in that is not you. And so now it's time to remove yourself from the bucket, which seems has already happened, and squeeze yourself. And so if you're a sponge being squeezed, everything that comes out, this is saying, it's almost like doing that in order to release the emotions of others people. And as you're squeezing yourself, as you're purging, you're asking yourself, like, is this mine? Does this even belong to me? This feeling, this thought, this action, behavior, like this habit, is this mine? And so as we kind of purge and you sort what's mine, what's not mine, you're also trying to lighten your body, to free your body, to give your body space, right? Anything that we carry needs to belong to us. And so it's about making space. And this is emotional space. Beneath this card, we have the Page of Cups. And, the Page of Cups is literally about being lighthearted, being unafraid of living in your heart space, of dreaming, of feeling, of imagining, right? And it takes a level of creativity and sensitivity in order to live in this dream space. But you have to be light. Your heart has to be open and free. You can't be, cluttered or bogged down. And so where are you heading? You're heading into this Page of Cups energy because you're releasing other people's emotions and you're making space for you inside of you. Simply put, right? And yes. And so this is new, though, because a page is a card of youth. It's a card that doesn't really reflect maturity or mastery. So this is something that you're stepping into after a season of not having this type of energy. Now, what is beautiful is beneath the page, and I'm so sorry, I said Page of Swords, totally the Page of Cups. Beneath the Page of Cups is gratitude. It says, I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. Literally living in gratitude is like a magnet for greatness. Gratitude is a magnet for greatness. That is the truth. And so by releasing, you are going to absorb energies, absorb a light heart to freely focus on whatever it is you want to do. It's like you're stepping into you and you're loving the space that you're in. You're loving your body, you're loving your life. You're just like, wow, like it's pretty great being here, and the here is just simply you without anything extra. And so the gratitude, it's about being thankful for the good moments, the not good moments, because they were all opportunities for growth. Everything that happens for us and not to us. And so when you are gracious, can you just imagine how easy even traumas and challenges can become because of your ability to perceive them from a higher perspective, which is from the heart space, right? And so that's where you're heading, which is totally beautiful. So if you are heading to an energy of gratitude, imagine what you attract next. Card number 4 says, this is what I expect. We literally have breathe. It says breath is sacred. To replenish yourself, slowly inhale wellness and clarity to a count of 6. So you count to 6 and you only think that every breath I take is bringing me wellness, it's bringing me clarity. It's bringing me wellness, it's bringing me clarity. And when you exhale, you are exhaling your stress to a count of 6. So inhale wellness and clarity to 6, exhale stress to a count of 6. And so this is stopping and living in the present moment and realizing that as long as you have breath, you are on a mission and everything is beautifully happening to the divine plan. And so what do you expect? You expect to live a life where you no longer feel stress. You want to have wellness. You want to have clarity. Beneath the breath card, we have the Knight of Wands. Listen, this is a card of fire and passion, commitment. This is a card where you are unafraid to go after something. So the wand, is fire, it's passion, it's momentum. It could be change, progress, growth. But when we're talking about the Page of Wands, that's like the initial spark. But you have the Knight of Wands, which is the actual pursuit. It is, you are actually engaging in doing and involved in this. And whatever this is that brings you this feeling of energy, of excitement, right? This is adventure. And this is also being charming. Why are you charming? Because you're living in your own vibe and loving it, right? Beneath the Knight of Wands is happiness. It says, I'm aware that being happy means that I'm on the right path. And so what do you expect? You expect to be happy. One, because you're breathing and living and you're on the right path and you're simply being you. You're simply and fearlessly being confident and self-assured in who you are and what you're here to do, right? And this has nothing to do with assets or ownership or possessions. This is literally existing in your own space and being content. Right? And when you can do that, you know that you're on the right path. But when we're in these moments that kind of take life away from us and keep us in fear, that's not on our path. But we need those moments, though, because they're indicators that something needs to be fixed, right? And so we have to be gracious for those too. Card number 5 says, this is what I'm supposed to learn right now. So what is all this for, right? At the end of this is a growth check. What was this for? It says, embrace your imperfections. Release the idea that you must be without flaws. Humans are imperfect, messy, and also miraculous. Simply aim to be the best person possible. So this card has a teacup that's cracked. Now it's totally functional. It still holds a drink. It's still soothing to drink from, but it does have its own chips and dents from the journey that it's taken. And so I think this says, listen, we are all teacups with cracks and chips and dents, but they're beautiful because they make us us. They give us character. They are our own unique signature, and they were important in our transformation. This card also has 5 butterflies. In numerology, 5 is about change and freedom and adventure. And in order to be a butterfly, imagine the journey from the caterpillar to the butterfly. The caterpillar literally has to die to its existence in order for this butterfly to become itself. Although it's one and the same, it still was a process of transformation that wasn't pretty, it wasn't beautiful, but it was necessary in order to get to the best version of you. And so why was all of this necessary? Because it brought you to you. Yes, those cracks and chips and dents weren't fun while we were enduring them, but they make you you. They make you the best you. And it's those imperfections in our journey and in our path that really give us the variety. The 5 butterflies on this card, everyone is different, but they're all butterflies, right? But you wouldn't know why each one is itself unless you could see the difference in its design. And that's the character. Those are the journeys that we've been on, for good or for bad. Those are our designs, right? And they always make us the best us. Beneath embrace your imperfections, we have the 8 of Cups. I love this card. Like, this is a card of empowerment. 8 of Cups, 6 of Swords. Like, these cards fire me up because it's power in acting, right? And it's always easy to receive and to enter in a place of joy. But what happens when you're leaving a space because it wasn't fulfilling? Can you imagine the hope and the faith that you have for what's to come? You don't know, but you just know this isn't it, right? In order to get to the best version of me, sometimes I have to walk away from things. And that's what this is. This is a card of transition. It's a card that says, hey, it's time to change. Something here is done, right? I invested in something a lot. 8 of Cups. I invested a lot. But at this point in time, I think I need to abandon my initial thought. And that's okay. That's totally okay. Beneath the 8 of Cups, we have empathy. It says, I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. So what makes the 8 of Cups powerful is when you can walk away from things not with regret, not with remorse or anger, but when you can walk away with empathy and say, I totally understand this experience, not only from my perspective, but from the other person's story. And I'm grateful for it. Right? So I walk away with peace. I walk away and things are at rest. And so any situation that appeared to be taking us away from the best version of self was actually happening for us and not to us. It could have been taking us to the best version of self by forcing us to walk away, by not being what we needed. When things are not what we need, they are still what we need, right? Because they're sending us in the direction to be fulfilled. Now let's just look at the bottom of the deck for each of these cards. The first one says tame negative thinking. Tame negative thinking. And so we can just look at these cards as general advice. It says when negative thoughts arise, experience the feelings behind them and then shift to a larger, more compassionate perspective. So when negative thoughts arrive, look at the feelings behind them. And we talked about releasing other people's emotions. And so sometimes we get into these negative patterns of thinking, habits, behavior, and speaking. And it's really not a reflection of our own energy. We're just kind of replaying the stories of people that we were just engaged in. And so one, check the feeling behind the thought. If it's yours, address it. If it's not, purge it, right? But the idea is to elevate. Every time you remove a thought, a pattern, or behavior that is not suiting you, you become lighter, you elevate, you ascend, you grow, right? And so this is about looking at things with compassion. With compassion. We can't fix negative thinking with harshness. We have to be compassionate about why we have this thought, why we're feeling it, where it comes from, is it serving us, and how we can see above it. Beneath tame negative thinking is the Two of Cups. So, you could have, let me just say this, listen, Seven of Swords. Stop trying to fix people, release other people's emotions, embrace your own imperfections. Eight of Cups, Page of Cups, this totally could have been about a relationship one. So if you are someone that has dealt with a specific person where you've gone through this, this was really to push you to a space of empathy and gratitude, right? And it took you being honest with yourself, right? Even if that was hard to do, you knew it would lead to your own happiness. And so beneath the tame negative thinking, we have Two of Cups. And so, I talked about in the Eight of Cups being able to walk away from situations with peace, right? No regret, no remorse. And so Two of Cups talks about union and partnership. But if we have a string of terrible experiences, we kind of develop a thought pattern around relationships. And so I feel like it is through purging the energies of the past that you can kind of renew what you're thinking about love and connections with people. Right? And it's when we live in gratitude, when we walk away from things that aren't fulfilling, when we understand that our happiness is just living in our own creativity. That's it, right? That's when we start to attract the people, places, and things that are really for us. But it takes us purging the people, places, and things that are not for us in order to get there. Beneath the Two of Cups is success. I know that there's no greater goal than to love, right? And so this is about understanding the whole lesson of this earthly experience is about love, and and there are billions and billions and billions of lessons on love, and we are each a lesson. Our story is a lesson on love. Our journey is revealing to us a unique identity of how to love, when to love, who to love. Like every moment, every experience is teaching us these things, right? And so, although you are independent trailblazers, although you're independent trailblazers, none of us can get through this life alone, and the relationships that come into our life are really to bring us closer to self. And so when you are closest to yourself, when you are moving on your path, when you're living in happiness and gratitude, you will begin to attract these Two of Cups, these balanced unions where there's equal give and take, and there's harmony, and there's understanding, and there's compassion, and there's respect, right? And so any negative thinking that you had about finding happiness in relationships will shift when the relationship with yourself shifts, because you're no longer investing in things that don't reflect your highest value, your best version of self. Okay, so this is like the growth, the progress check to see where we are, and I'm hoping this was beneficial to you in some way. Thank you so much for stopping by. Take care.